right, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And I'll put one of my cards in there.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Did you want to risk? Oh no, not at all.
I don't need one.
Okay. Hi there, if you're new here, I'm Jody, owner of Maison Camellia, a small batch textile studio located in South Carolina, and today I am doing the Southern Pines Springfest in Southern Pines, North Carolina. It's about an hour and 15-minute drive from where I live, and it's around 6:30 in the morning, and it starts at 10 a.m. today, so I'm hoping to get there around 7:45 or a little before 8, so that gives me a couple of hours to get set up this morning, and hopefully that should be plenty of time, but I'm super excited. The weather is going to be really nice today. It is going to be 85, which is on the warm side, but that's not happening until 2 or 3 this afternoon, and the market ends at 4, and it's nice and cool outside right now. And one of the things that I've dealt with my previous 2 outdoor markets has been wind, like wind gusts from 20, 25, even 35 miles per hour. And today the wind is supposed to be 5 to 10 miles per hour. So I'm hoping that just feels like a nice breeze. So TBD. So I'm going to get on the road. I've got a little bit of coffee to sip on the way there. And of course I will take you guys through the setup that I'm doing for today. It's a one-day market, and then of course at the end of this video I will do a full market recap. All right, so I am set up right here. I'm really happy with my location because I'm near the main intersection, but you can see all the people that are already starting to arrive. So you can see it continues down this street, and this is the cross street, and it continues down this street. So I am really excited to see how it goes today. Super cute. Look at this setup. So I am going to, like I said, take a quick bathroom break, and then I will give you guys a quick tour before everything really gets going here. I think it's going to be a busy day based on what I'm seeing. I am going to try and do a quick overview of the setup before it gets too busy. So I have my mix and match stand on this side for this market, and then my Charleston Collection right there. And then at the entrance I have my strap bar with my different straps, and then this side of the booth I have set up with all of my bags and pouches, and then all of my tote bags across the back there. And then on this side I've got book sleeves and bookmarks at the entrance here, and then my display of the 2 different sizes. And then I've got my lavender sachets, more book sleeves, and I've kind of sprinkled some of my mini dahlia bowls throughout. So that's what the setup is looking like. And then I've got the Charleston Collection strap bar by the checkout, and then more pouches and sachets. So it is about 1:15. There's still about 2 hours and 45 minutes left of this market, but I am just shy of 10xing the booth fee for this market. So I am just ecstatic. I am so happy with how well this market is going. It's really hot. It's about 83 degrees right now, and the humidity is really bad, and my tent has blown and shifted a lot today. The wind speed was only supposed to be between 5 and 10 miles per hour, but I definitely think it's been stronger than that, and I did not bring any weights for it, which was not smart. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick update. All right, so this is probably going to be my last check-in for the day. It's about 3:30, so there's 30 minutes left. But you guys, I have made 20 sales so far today. So I am beyond ecstatic, and I cannot wait to fill you guys in when I do the recap. But this market has more than exceeded my expectations. And oh my gosh, I'm having to hold my tent right now because the wind is really strong. Oh my goodness. Okay. The wind was only supposed to be 5 to 10 miles per hour today, but it has been much, much stronger than that. And I'm glad there's only about 30 minutes left because I did not put any weights on my tent today because I didn't think I needed it. I might have already mentioned that, but yeah, I will not be doing that again. But it's finally slowed down enough that I was able to run and get one of these lemonades, which is delicious. So I will be filling you guys in soon when I do the recap. All right, so let's dive into the recap for this market. And you can see I'm beaming ear to ear because this really was such a great market. It just feels really, really good to finally have a market behind me that really kind of ticked all the boxes of what to me a successful market ticks, and this one hit all of them. So this was a one-day market. It was held on Saturday, April 25th, and it was the Southern Pines Springfest located in Southern Pines, North Carolina, in the village of Pinehurst, which is the cutest little downtown shopping area. If you're familiar with the Gilmore Girls, that's what I've been comparing it to everyone. It really felt like being in an episode of the Gilmore Girls just because of the aesthetics and all the trees, and just the atmosphere was so quaint and so pretty, and lots of people really turned out for this market, which was awesome. One thing also I have to note, because my last Springfest market that I did, I was between food vendors, and the food vendors were all mixed in with the craft vendors. And what I loved about this particular market is that was not the case. The food vendors had their own separate section, and craft vendors had their were all together, and that was just so much nicer. So if anyone watching, if you are an organizer of events, yeah, I think just in general, as crafters, we prefer to be in a separate location. But I had a 10 by 10 booth, and my booth fee was $115. And this market, it officially started at 10 a.m. and it went to 4 p.m., which I really appreciate. I'm finding that that's kind of like the sweet spot in terms of market day length that I prefer, is starting around 10 or 11 and going to around 4. I think is just the perfect, it's the perfect amount of time. So I really like that. And also the organizers of this market, I think food vendors were able to start setting up at 6 a.m. and then craft vendors were able to start setting up at 7. And I personally got there around 7:30, so I had about an hour and a half to get everything set up, which brings me to the setup and what I brought. So it took me about an hour and 20 minutes, so I had about 10 minutes after I got everything set up to do a very quick walk around. I didn't have time to walk the full market, and so I did have a 10 by 10 space, and I organized it and laid everything out very similar to the way I did for my previous 2 markets. With one side of the booth, I mainly did my bags and my pouches, and then the other side of the booth, I focused on my book sleeves, and I did have some bowls for this market and my bookmarks. And then I also had made some lavender sachets for this market, which I included on that side. So I had kind of strictly like a bag and pouch, like things that you carry side. Well, I guess you carry book sleeves, but that's kind of the way I had everything organized. And then I had quite a few, actually I had all of my tote bags that I have currently on both of the side walls. And then I used my 2 folding shelves out front on either side of the booth, and those shelves are from Hobby Lobby. I know I've had at least one of you ask where I got those from, and they are from Hobby Lobby, and I love them because they fold fairly flat and they're super lightweight. Even though they're wood, whatever the wood they're constructed out of doesn't weigh very much, so they're really lightweight, fold down almost flat. And yeah, I really like them. As many of you know, for my previous market, Vintage Market Days in Charleston, I did a limited edition collection, and I'll link that video down below if you're interested in checking it out, because I take you through the whole process of designing and making it. So I had it displayed on the right side, and both of those shelves did exactly what I wanted them to do. They stopped people walking by and got them to come into the booth, and throughout the day I ended up selling things off of both of them, which was awesome. I brought my whole entire inventory for this market, so I had all of my pouch sizes. I had both my medium and large boxy bags. I had my book sleeves in both sizes. I also made up some of my teeny tiny little dahlia trinket bowls for the show and brought those. And then I also added lavender sachets for this show. It's something that I have been wanting to make for a while. I just hadn't gotten around to it yet, so I added those for this market, and I love how they made my booth smell, and I got lots of people commenting on the smell of the lavender as they were in my booth throughout the day. And I also, which I'll talk about more when I get to the what sold section, I also sold one set of those. So I think that that's going to be a product that is going to do really well, which brings me to what were people drawn to at this market. The book sleeves, the bowls, my tote bags, bookmarks, the straps, my pouches, the boxy bags, the Charleston Collection. Everything got, I would say, a lot of attention this market. If anything, maybe if I had to kind of single out one or two things, I would say maybe the book sleeves and the tote bags are what people were most drawn to. So let's get into what sold at this market. So my top 3 sellers at this market were my hardback book sleeves, my bookmarks, and my mini pouch. So when I break them down, they look like this, and I just love the AI inside of Shopify. You can just ask it to break all of these stats down for you. So by units sold, I sold 7 hardback book sleeves, 5 bookmarks, 3 mini pouches, 2 medium boxy bags, 2 garden party mini pouches, 2 of my medium pouches, 1 of my large boxy bags, 1 bookmark duo, which is a set of 2 bookmarks, and then I sold 1 paperback book sleeve, and I sold 1 of my little mini dahlia trinket bowls. I sold 1 of my large dahlia bowls. I sold 1 Charleston Garden Party accent strap. I sold 1 set of lavender sachets. I sold 1 of my Rainbow Row boxy bags. I sold some reading ritual cards. I sold 1 large pouch, 1 one of my stand-up pouches, and I sold 2 of my Savannah ruffle totes. I cannot believe that, you guys, that I sold 2 tote bags at this market. And then I sold another classic accent strap and a ruffle strap. So in total, I ended the day with 23 transactions, and the average order value between all of my transactions was $64.45, bringing my total for the entire day to $1,482.29. So I am just ecstatic, you guys. Like I said, this is the best market that I have had thus far. And if I'm being honest, this is really kind of the daily sales that I expected, at least from one of the days at Vintage Market Days Charleston. And I did not do as well as I did at this single market with all 3 days of my Vintage Market Days Charleston Market. And if you missed that video, I'll link it down below. But yeah, so that's why I have this smile across my face. And then I'm so excited about how well I did at this market. And this organizer also does a fall version of this. So of course I've already reached out and put my application in for that market. I haven't heard back yet because I had to mail in the application, but I will totally keep you guys updated on that market when the time comes. So let's get into what surprised me about this market. Just the difference in the amount of traffic. This truly is the busiest market that I've done so far. And I don't know if it's the city of Southern Pines or just the surrounding area, but people really showed up for this market. It was a really busy day. I'm going to completely shift gears here for a brief moment and switch to the weather, because that is one of the big things that surprised me. Now, it was a gorgeous day. The sun was out. It was beautiful all day. There was a chance of rain, but the chance of rain was for later in the evening. So I wasn't afraid that it would rain during this market, but all the weather forecasts did not have there being high wind in the forecast for the day. And this is probably my mistake as a new vendor, because the thing is, I had my sandbags, or did I? No, I didn't. I'm thinking I did not have my sandbags in the car with me. But yeah, I did not bring sandbags to this market because the weather forecast was saying something like, northeasterly wind or something like that, 5 miles per hour, which to me, 5 miles per hour sounds like a breeze, right? And nothing that you really need to be concerned about. But it was super windy at this market, and there were a lot of strong wind gusts. I was having to deal with my products flying off of the tables, even though I had my two tent sidewalls up. I had both of my little strap displays completely fly off more than once during the day, where I had to pick up all of the straps and hang them back up. And I had one bag that managed to keep flying behind the table and underneath the sidewall and into the booth next to me. That happened so many times that I finally just decided not to have any of my bags sitting on the surface where that one was. And there's one moment where I was literally having to sit there and hold the tent because the gusts were so strong. And that was towards the end of the market. For future, I think regardless if there is wind or a breeze or whatever in the forecast, I need to have at a minimum my sandbags on the tent. So from now on, sandbags, check, even if there's no windy weather projected. And if there is windy weather projected, I now have my mega 50-pound water weights for each one of the legs. All right, so is there anything that didn't land, or what are some of the lessons that I learned from this market? So I just had my little rant about the wind and the sandbags. Is it getting easier to set up and take down my booth? And it is getting easier. I'm getting more familiar with the specific layout that I use for my displays. And then also just all the attachments of everything are getting easier. I use little bungee cords to attach all of my signs, and those have gotten so much easier to put up and take down. I really struggled, and it seemed to take forever to do simple things like hang up my banner for the first few markets, but I think I finally got the hang of that, and so that's going a lot quicker. Also, something that I did for this market that I also did for the Charleston Market is I angled my tables slightly in towards the back so that I'm able to pretty much walk behind the two side tables. You probably can't, it's maybe not that obvious in the picture, but that's really helpful because it makes it where even though I can't walk all the way around my booth, I'm still able to step behind the tables and I can reach all of the tote bags really easily. So I'm definitely going to keep doing that. I have not been happy, you guys, with my table covers. I picked a neutral color that matches my branding, but just overall, I feel like it makes everything look the same, kind of bland. I feel like when you're looking at my booth from far away, it just looks, everything looks beige and kind of bland. Now it doesn't, I feel like in person, once you get inside of my booth, it's not that bland or boring, but just kind of from far away, I just feel like there's really nothing that is standing out. And I kept looking at the displays of the candle booth next to me, and I really like all of their displays are black and they have the black tablecloths, and it was just really striking and eye-catching. So I have decided, at least for now, I'm going to switch out my table covers, and I have ordered some dark navy table covers that are the skirted covers that will have that kind of pleated ruffle look. So I'll put a picture of those, and I also ordered some runners to go on top of those, so I think that is going to look really good, which I guess I'm kind of already bleeding into what I'm changing for my next market. So yep, that's it. I've ordered those table covers and those runners. I don't love, while I love my folding shelves that I use at the front of my booth, I'm not wild about the color. They were this kind of dark chocolate brown when I purchased them, and I attempted to do a light spray paint on them of a cream color to lighten them up, but I'm still not entirely happy with that. So I think I want to get some blue milk paint and paint those prior to my next market. I'm going to leave the little chalkboard area because I've already hand drawn on there. But yeah, I think I want to paint those blue just to give the visual displays and the visual weight of my booth more emphasis. I think the darker navy and the blue is really going to make my products pop a lot and make my booth just more striking visually from far away. So I'm excited to try those out. They're actually being delivered tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that makes my booth look like. Is there anything else that I am changing? Thank you just in general for all the love and all the comments on all of my videos. It's kind of overwhelming really to see all of the positive comments from all of you guys, and really just to see how many people are watching my videos is kind of mind-blowing. And a lot of you are watching from the United States, but I've also have quite a people who have commented from Australia and the UK, and I think I had someone from South Africa, so maybe New Zealand, I don't know, all over. So those of you who are watching, just thank you so much. It just really means the world to me, and it still just blows me away. So my next market, I am giving a Vintage Market Days a try again. This coming week, over Mother's Day weekend, I am doing Vintage Market Days in Raleigh. It's at the NC State Fairgrounds, and from what I've heard from other people and from other vendors, it is about 3 to 4 times larger than the Vintage Market Days in Charleston. So I'm interested and excited to see what the difference is between those two. I know the organizers are different between those two. So it's fun to try different markets and see how they go. Also, for the one in Raleigh, I can stay with my sister, who is a little bit closer to that market, so I don't have to pay for a hotel. So that is definitely going to save me in expenses for that market. So that will most likely be my next video, will be the recap of that market. So if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. All right, take care.